As parents, we're constantly worried about our child, how they're behaving, or what they're thinking. Do they love the spotlight? Or do they prefer staying in the background? Or maybe they like both. Some children connect deeply with people yet still feel separate from the crowd. Experts describe this rare pattern as the Otrovert personality type. We grow up hearing about the classic introvert versus extrovert person debate and exploring different social personality types. But have you ever heard anyone in these debates mention that I am an Otrovert? Most probably, you haven't. Thus, we're here to ease your confusion. If you've ever wondered, what is an Otrovert personality type, this guide will walk you through 9 revealing signs and how you can support your child with confidence. Let's discover the Otrovert personality traits. What is an Otrovert personality? Understanding the hidden personality type. The term was introduced by American psychiatrist Rami Kaminsky to describe people who don't strongly identify with groups, yet can still connect deeply with individuals. Then, explaining it more deeply, he mentions that at birth, babies attach to a few caregivers, not to groups. As toddlers grow, they're gradually shaped by culture, school systems, and social expectations. Most children eventually adopt group identities, but an Otrovert resists that pull. An Otrovert is a newly defined personality type, coined in 2023 to 2025. Otroverts aren't simply balanced between introversion and extroversion. Instead, they often feel like social outsiders, even when they are well-liked. Using this perspective to understand social personality types helps explain why some people have a sense of connection and separation simultaneously. They simply lack what Kaminsky calls a communal impulse. How otroverts differ from introverts and extroverts. The energy between an introvert and an extrovert flows differently. That's it. Introverts recharge alone. Extroverts recharge around others. Coming to the concept that is becoming famous these days, otroverts, however, don't define themselves by a single energy. Their defining trait is independence from group identity. They can enjoy people deeply, but often feel detached from the group as a whole. 7 signs. Your child might be an Otrovert 1. They prefer adult conversations over playground politics. Have you recently noticed your child having conversations with teachers or family friends instead of playing with classmates? Otrovert children often seem mature beyond their years. They enjoy meaningful and thoughtful discussions and feel comfortable in adult company because it feels authentic and free from any pressure. It's a selective connection, a common trait among unique social personality types like Otroverts. 2. They ask deep, unexpected questions. Why do people follow trends? Why do we care about popularity? Is this how your child questions you, in place of asking to buy them that supercar toy? Otrovert kids are naturally curious and inventive. They challenge assumptions and think independently. Here's where it becomes interesting, because Otroverts often think independently, which means they're less afraid of rejection and more willing to question norms. When comparing introvert versus extrovert person, an Otrovert often carries the advantages of both reflection and communication. 3. They're well-liked, but avoid social hierarchies. Here's when it becomes a little confusing at the start for the parents to understand. Because Otrovert children are often popular. They're witty, kind, and emotionally intelligent. Yet they don't obsess over fitting in. They feel indifferent toward cliques and social rankings. They're witty, kind, and emotionally intelligent. Yet they don't obsess over fitting in. They feel indifferent toward cliques and social rankings. In the traditional introvert versus extrovert person conversation, belonging is often central. For Otroverts, belonging simply isn't a driving need. 4. Solitude feels restorative, not lonely. If your child happily spends time alone reading, building, or creating, that's not necessarily a red flag. Otroverts genuinely thrive in solitude. They don't isolate out of sadness. They recharge by being independent and alone. Spending alone time is one of the clearest signs when understanding an otrovert. 5. Group events, feel draining or forced birthday parties, team sports, loud school assemblies. They don't like to attend these events. While many kids crave these environments, otroverts often tolerate them rather than enjoy them. The pressure they feel while they attend group events is what they want to ignore. They're not antisocial, they just prefer interactions where they can show up as themselves without performing for a crowd. 6. They naturally resist peer pressure. They don't identify themselves in any group, which is why otroverts are less likely to engage in risky behavior just to fit in. They think critically about consequences and trust their own judgment. They often like to offer their own views and opinions on the plate rather than following a line where everybody else is going. 7. Transitions feel disorienting. Otrovert children can struggle with environmental changes because they don't rely on group belonging for stability. Changing school, moving homes, even in summer camps. They might feel a little anxious and will think that they don't belong there at first, as they depend heavily on internal routines. Parenting. An otrovert. What actually helps? If you recognize your child in these traits, take a breath. Nothing is wrong. Dr. Kaminsky emphasizes that an otrovert is neurotypical, friendly, and often highly capable. The key is support, not correction. Here's how you can help your child flourish. 1. Respect their social limits. Don't force group involvement just because it's normal. Observe what genuinely energizes them. 2. Encourage one-on-one friendships. Deep bonds matter more than wide circles for them. Facilitate meaningful connections with individuals rather than large gatherings. 3. Celebrate their independence. In American culture, belonging often equals success. We celebrate team players, influencers, and social butterflies. But an otrovert reminds us that fulfillment doesn't always come from fitting in. Among all social personality types, otroverts often become innovative thinkers. 4. Create personal family memories. Instead of prioritizing group events, create one-on-one traditions, road trips, bookstore visits, hikes in national parks. These moments feel deeply fulfilling to them. Final thoughts. Embracing an otrovert child. If you've been asking yourself, is your child an introvert or an extrovert or an otrovert personality type, I hope that if you're reading till here, you got your answer and the way you can find it. If your child seems comfortable standing slightly outside the crowd, confident, curious, and quietly independent, you may be raising a personality type that simply values individuality over group identity. Remember this: you don't have to squeeze your child into a category that doesn't fit. If your child feels they don't belong to any, or that they are a mix of the other types, it's all right. Personality isn't a box, it's a spectrum. Frequently asked questions, FAQs. What is an otrovert personality? An otrovert personality is described as someone who may function socially, but internally feels like an outsider in group settings, even when included. They often prefer selective one-to-one connections over group interactions and may feel slightly detached in crowds. Can children be introverts? Yes, children can absolutely be introverts. Introversion isn't shyness. It simply means a child recharges by spending time alone or in calm settings rather than large, noisy groups. Introverted children often enjoy deep conversations, independent play, creativity, and meaningful one-on-one connections. It's a personality trait, not something that needs fixing. What is the difference between an introvert and an otrovert? An introvert recharges by spending time alone and often prefers quiet settings and deeper conversations. An otrovert gains energy from being around people individually and not in group activities. It's simply a difference in how people restore their energy. Neither is better than the other.